Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys have having a wonderful Monday. I am spritzing my palette right now with some water, and I'm using my curated palette that I use all my Daniel Smith colors with. And I thought I would share with you how I painted this and how I got this atmospheric color. So let's get started. I stamped this with a Blue Night stamp set called Rejoice Always. I got it for this, and that's what the back of the stamp looks like. And I don't think I've ever used the sentiment with it, but I love the florals from the designer that did this. And she actually has some good tutorials online on her Facebook group. Usually they put the designer's name on it, but I think her name is Heather, and she's just such a wonderful artist. But you might go check her out if you want to learn how to draw more florals. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just getting my brush wet, and it's really wet, and I'm going to paint basically wherever I think there should be green, but I'm also not paying too close attention to where the florals are. I painted this a couple times, so I'm going probably a little bit faster than you probably would to start with if you have not. But and this works with any stamp that you might have. And what I'm doing is I am thinking about, pretty soon I'll be thinking about color and the texture, and I will not be thinking about the floral motif that I have going on. All right, so when your paper is about as wet as you think it needs to be, and it's pretty, there's a sheen to the paper. I'm not taping my paper down there at all. I find that it hinders my creativity. So there you go. It's pretty wet. It's pretty, there's a good sheen to it. You can see where the water isn't on the flower. See how that, yep. All right, so now I'm going to take my green. This is my green Apatite, and I'm just going to dot in, paint in first, and then I'll dot in wherever I want the green at. Your paper does matter. I like to use 140-pound watercolor paper. Anything less is going to give you kind of a really, well, the way it's explained to me is, you know, I spent so much money on good quality paint, and then I didn't spend money on good paper. And the paint, if you're spending a lot of money on paint, this Apatite, genuine Apatite, I think it's like, maybe, I mean, when it's not on sale, it's like $20 a tube. So if you're spending that kind of money, you should probably use it to the best of your ability. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of making this atmospheric. I'm letting some water run. I love this color because you get a bunch of different, I'm breaking all the rules by painting back and forth in watercolor, but it's my painting and I'll do what I want. But look, so now I can go back in and I can add darker, and I then just add some more water, let it flow. And it's going to dry darker, and I like that flow, so I'm going to let that be. I do want it darker on the edges, I think. And when I'm painting, this is a great tip that I think most of my art instructors that I've have taught me is, you're not painting the flower, you're not painting the background. You're very mindful of what you're doing with the color. You're really just playing with color, and when you can play with just the color, you're able to get this beautiful background, because you're not focused on what it is, you're just focusing on the process of putting paint to paper. I hope that makes sense. But everyone has their own way of processing. So I really like that dark right there. I'm going to continue that. over here too. Okay. I don't know if I can do a whole lot more. And usually when it comes to this type of technique, less is more. And I think I'm to that point where if I do more, I'm going to wish I hadn't. So I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to get a paper towel. I'm finding that doing these live videos help a little bit. It's easier to do these live videos because it's hard to edit and raise a family. And I just want to paint. So you can watch me while I paint. And I like to talk. So, it works. Anyways, okay, so that one's done. And then when that dries, I'm going to use my Autumn Mystery and we'll pretty much have this card finished. But I thought I would try a different one. Here's the same one. If you're wondering how I stamped, I just took my Misty and I put this floral stamp right here. And then I stamped it and then I flipped it around, stamped it again. So it was like a mirror stamp technique. Yeah. All right. But this time I'm going to go with Brushos because I think a lot of people are scared of Brushos, and I get it. It is not an easy thing, but I also want to be able to play with all my paints and share with you guys how I use Brushos. So with Brushos, I like to get this on the paper so it's not going to buckle up or anything. Spray this. Brushes are supposed to be messy and loose. So if you keep that in mind, I think that if it's supposed to be loose, let it be loose. And this is New Gamboge. I really love this. I think I just saw some yellow little pretty flowers in my garden that's already popping up. And so I am, of course, wanting yellow flowers because and then I see yellow tulips with a little bit of red and orange, and a little bit of Brushos can go a very long way. So for you that are new to Brushos, I almost very rarely, like this, I haven't even opened the actual canister or whatever tub you call this container. I've just poked 3 holes at the top and labeled it, and I'm calling it good. Okay, so I'm going to take this. This is a round 10. It doesn't. And what I'm trying to be very strategic as to where really I just want to add color to the florals. I don't want my flowers to be white at this point. But I don't want to lose that texture either. So I am being very, this is a very light touch. That can be that color. I have my son coming downstairs. Eli, I'm recording. How's it going? Good morning. You can watch me. Okay. I'm just doing a live video. I like that. I have a newfound love for Brushos. I actually have an online class with Brushos through the Fine Art Cafe Academy. And Jan Hatchett is the owner, and she's pretty awesome. I like her. She's really fun. She's very talented. Go ahead and have some breakfast. Okay. This is my morning watercolor, by the way. Now, I really like this the way it is. I could just leave it, and I think it would make for a beautiful card. I love this color that's happening right here. I could very much be done with it. I'm not going to. Because this is so bright, I want a muted color. And I'm going to use moss green. Moss green, I'll show you before. It has this beautiful green, I don't know. I just really love this color of green. And so I'm going to sprinkle this very strategically. I don't want to mess with this yellow because it's beautiful up there, but I do want to add some green. And like this Brusho, the thing I love about Brusho is I didn't know that there was I knew there was purple in this moss green, but you don't know when those bursts are going to appear the way they are. And it just makes for a really fun painting session. And like I said, like I don't want to just, I want it to look very natural. Like I just spent 2 seconds on it and then walk away. Like that's my plan. That's my game here. And I think I just ruined that, but we'll see. I'll take some of this green and I'll dot it in because I do want to differentiate the flowers. I want the bright orange, but at the same time, I still want that texture. And I don't want to mess with that because I really like that, but I am going to pick up some of that. I really like using color. And again, yeah, I'm saying, oh, this is a vine, but what I'm really trying to do is just paint with the Brusho, use the Brusho to the best of my ability. If you're not familiar with Brusho, I wish they had little sample packs or something, but the best thing I could say is either buy a split primary color palette if you like to watercolor, or they sell like a 12-pack, really inexpensive. And then once you know if you like it, then you can buy the extra colors. I have probably spent, I should have just gotten like the big 24-pack. That would have saved me a lot of money. So if you're thinking of going with Brushos, get the 24-pack. You're gonna wish you had. Yeah, I really like that. I mean, it is very pale, right, to begin with, but I do like how that's looking. I think there's enough Brusho right there that I don't have to add too much water. To get a milk carton or milk. Go ahead and get a milk carton. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go in. I'm going to let that dry. And just, I'm afraid that if I touch it much more, I'm going to lose the looseness and the beauty of this. I want it to look more like a very loose impressionistic garden. And I really like this. And I really don't want to mess with it. So, and besides that, I'm probably going to stamp a small sentiment right there. So if anything, I should take away some of this right here. And because it's still really wet, I can blot it up. Same thing there. And I think that will work. And then I'll go back in and I'll add a little bit more dimension to it. But I'm going to let that dry. And we'll go with, let's do something else. So another paint company that I love. So I showed you Daniel Smith, Primatech, showed you Brushos. The next one that I want to share, and this is like a new favorite of mine. I got, this is Qor Watercolor. And Qor Watercolor comes with a bunch of different, they have, I think, 3 different palettes that you can choose from, or you can get like their set of 24 tubes. It's made by Golden. Golden does make a lot of oils and acrylics, and they're known for their acrylics. Professional artists use Golden acrylics. Well, Golden came out with a watercolor that it's just stunning. I love the way it whooshes on the paper, and that's it. It has a different binder in it than most other watercolors. And for this one, I'm going to go with a green gold, and I'm actually going to just spray this again because, and watch, it just kind of swooshes around the paper. Really pretty. And I'll do the same technique I'm basically painting everything but the florals. And I'm okay if I get a little bit in because this green gold is really light and it dries light. But you can see that texture that it just kind of does its own thing, which is my favorite part about this watercolor. Oh, it's May already. I'm so excited for May. Just makes me want to paint outside all day. My kids have been playing outside a lot too, and it's been nice to spend time outside. Okay, so there, and this is called green gold, and it is, maybe I can brighten it down a little bit. You can kind of see it. It's very bright. It's just a bright green yellow, very yellow, not very much. So then my one of my favorite color combos with green gold is actually phthalo blue. And then if I do that, and this phthalo blue will definitely, a little bit goes a long way. I don't want to go too crazy with it, but I do want to add some of that beautiful blue to the green gold. You can kind of see it already making that beautiful green. And I'll go back because I don't want it all to look like I want it to look springy. And it's going to look springy, but more green gold. Oh, now when that dries, it's going to look beautiful. Now, the thing that I like about Qor Watercolor is I don't have to spend a whole lot of time creating these wishes, this organic watercolor blending. It just does it so naturally and so perfect. There's the difference. Now this is with Primatech, so it's with mineral. So this is an apatite mineral that, so you can see, I mean, it's a beautiful texture, but I also like this texture and it reminds me of a garden. And I think that's what I like. And then, I don't know, you have all these different colors in your repertoire, and I just like to see how that wishes. That's what I love about the Qor. That's Qor watercolor at its finest, and it's really pretty. It's yeah. Anyways, I'm hoping that it's focusing okay on you for my, but I came up with these techniques. Watercolor, I love watercolor because you don't have to be perfect. And it's all about adding color and water to your painting, right? And that's it. And with this, it just helps me be more mindful and I don't know, I'm almost happier at the end because I'm working on playing with color. And that's what I love. Okay, this is pretty dry. So I'm going to go back to my Daniel Smith palette. I do like to clean my workspaces. I don't want other colors on my card. I'm going to put that to dry. That's going to dry really pretty, I think. All right, back to my Daniel Smith palette. Here's my palette for Daniel, and this is the Autumn Mystery, and it's a duochroma color, but basically it's, I'll paint this flower. it just has this shimmer, and it's this beautiful, I don't know, I would call it like a dusty rose, I don't know, almost like a rose gold maybe would be a good way to, I don't know, but that's and it dries very, it dries very iridescent. And I do have to be careful so this should be like basically I'm painting it and I'm getting out. I'm not fussing around the flower. And I know that I had too much here. Like, my thing is why fuss with watercolor when the line work is already done for you? And maybe that's the wrong attitude to have. I don't know, but it's been working for me, so I'll keep doing it. I'm hoping to do these live videos, you guys. I know I say like every Tuesday or every Thursday, when I can. Our schedules are kind of nuts, and I'm kind of a go with the flow sort of person. So, and I'm an artist through and through, and I wish I could say I'm not, but whenever inspiration strikes is when I it's when I do these videos. And I'm sure that makes everyone super happy when they can't, when I'm not very consistent in my videos. But I'd rather be consistent in parenting than in my YouTube videos. So there's that. Okay. Now the other nice thing about this is I could add another color, and then the mica powders that's on in the pigment will float to the top, so you'll still have the iridescent. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of a cool red, and I want to say that this is like opera rose. I could totally be wrong, but I'm just going to add a little bit just to give it some variation. And that's going to look almost too much, but I'm hoping that it'll look better than it looks right now. Just to give it a little bit more depth. And when I'm painting wherever I think the shadows should be. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Kind of see, yeah. I know the flower's curving up like this and around. I really like that. There. It's fun to play. It's fun to play and paint with watercolor. I find it relaxing. I'm finding that I have to do a lot more mindfulness activities that I didn't expect to do. Not that that's bad, just my mind has to be able to create, and I'm finding that using mindfulness in my art helps me be a better parent. I have to keep my mind off of all the junk that the media puts out with the virus, and I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay with being crabby because I listened to the news. All right, so now I am fussing a little bit more because I really don't want white showing with my flowers. And I have the same problem right over here. So when I was painting, I think I just forgot. And again, it's supposed to be loose and fresh and not a whole lot of fussing over it. Okay, so now that's looking pretty good. Now I can go in with my leaves. Here's my first piece. I did not add the pink to it. I just added the little bit, but I really like how the pink is turning out. It's definitely changing up a little bit. So anyways, let's go back, and I'm going to actually use jade. And I used jade right here, and that's another Primatech color. And when I say jade, I'm literally painting with jade mineral, a jade gemstone, whatever you want to call it. Is jade a mineral? I guess it probably could be, but it's jade from the ground. Because I wanted jade is a darker green. It's like my favorite green. I wanted it to stand out a little bit from that. And I really like it with the pink too. For the longest time, even in design school, I hated putting green and pink together. And now it's like one of my favorite combos. And I thought, why was I so against pink and green, or pink, red and green? But, you know, I was young and silly at the time. Now I could do everything in pink and green, or purple and green. The brush I'm using is and I've used it so much that the writing's completely gone off. It's an Escoda Versatile Rigger brush. I think it's size 10. Angela Fair mentioned that that's one of her favorite brushes, and I love it. I can do so much with this one brush. I can get into the little lines. I can paint a whole picture if I like, a big space. It has a nice belly to it. Yeah, it's a good one. But this jade color, oh my gosh, it's my favorite. Now, I'm going to leave this the way it is. I have some pink in that leaf. I like that, so I'm just going to leave it. I don't want to mess with it. And I think for this one, I'm not going to paint every leaf, just to give it some variety. Why not? I make up the rules. And I feel like a lot of it is just a tiny bit of, not negative painting, but a lot of it is intuitive. This looks like it could have been a petal, but just in case, I'm going to paint that. And so now that is done. That is finished, and I think that's going to look beautiful. Now, I love these kind of cards because now I have the option to put whatever sentiment in the middle that I wanted. This was a sentiment that I from Blue Night Stamps, and I actually designed that sentiment. And you can get it onto the Blue Night Stamps website, which is really handy. If you needed a Mother's Day card, this would be a beautiful Mother's Day card, or even possibly a sympathy card if needed to be. And so there's the Brushos one. And I have, we can finish up this one too. There's the Qor Watercolor. Now with this, I really like how, because I added a little bit of that yellow, green, gold, I'm going to use a smaller brush. And I'm going to add some more of that green gold into it very lightly. And then I might even just add some of this yellow pigment. Golden has their metallic line, and they have a gold and a silver and I think maybe even a white gold. But I'm going to go ahead and just do this gold because I like shimmer. Shimmer makes me happy. And I'm basically just glazing over it, and that will give it a really nice look to the white paper. And then I think I'll go back in and glaze around the flowers one more time and call that done. Because I'm all about quick and fast cards, but I'm also I want the stamp to do the work. I just want to be the watercolorist that just adds water and color, not water, color. And this is a very subtle look, but it gives it a nice shimmer, and I really love this. I love the gold, the Golden's gold watercolor tube. I thought it was fairly inexpensive, actually, and I got it at Dick Blick. But Golden, it's made by Golden, and it's just Golden's mica paint for their watercolor. I really like that. Now I am going to mix some phthalo blue. I usually like to say mix your colors on your paper, not on your palette, but I think for this, because I'm doing a glaze, I don't really want to mess up too much. So I'm just going to go around here. And this is what it's going to do, is it's just going to make the white flowers pop a little bit more. And it's glazing, so it's a subtle effect, but it's a great effect nonetheless. And I see that there's this line right here, so I'm just going to thin it out. There, you can see. I can see where I need some more green. This is why glazing is so much fun. Yeah. And you could spend hours perfecting this stage of the card. I wouldn't, unless you are really feeling it. But because I don't know who's going to get this card, and I don't know, I make a lot of these cards where I just make a bunch of cards and kind of just enjoy the process and not so much the end result. I think that's what makes it so much fun to paint. Now I'm wishing I had my nice bigger brush. And I think with this one, because I can, I might add some splatter too. But phthalo blue and that green gold, man, I cannot get enough of it. There, I really like this. And then I still have left enough light space to add a sentiment if I wanted to. And I think I have just a little extra, so I'm going to go ahead and splatter just a tiny bit. It's probably going to blend in the background. But it'll give it just enough texture. And then if you were not wanting to be a messy painter like me, you could cover this part with a paper towel and cover this part with a paper towel or something. But because I'm kind of messy and I am not really particular, I don't mind the splatters. And I do see that I got some splatter right there, and sometimes it's easier to just let it go. I don't mind if there's a little bit of green on my florals. It kind of adds to the... If you've ever seen a white flower, they're not completely stark white. They have other colors to them. Yeah. See, this is when I start fussing around and won't let things be, and then it looks more like someone, painted it, which I want it to look natural, like it just happened, like the other three. So I always say, let it go before you think it's finished. That's a Jean Haynes rule, not my rule, but I've completely adopted it, and so has Angela Fair. And I think most watercolorists will say, call it done before it's actually finished, because watercolor is loose and it should be made that way. But I really like the white flowers in that one. I I really like the Brushos. Brushos have stolen a piece of my heart. I could go back in and make this green darker, and I think I should. And then there is that one. And then I have 3 card panels that I can I can say happy birthday, or, you know, a sympathy card, or, you know, it does a Mother's Day card. This is perfect for Mother's Day. So I am going to add just a little bit more of that moss green. And actually, I'm not really going to get a darker value from using the same color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use its neighbor green. I don't know, olive green. Olive green. It when you put it on, it looks almost yellow, but it gets this really dark, rich evergreen green, which I really love. And so now, because I'm clearly not going for color harmony at this point, because we got too many colors. We even got purple in here. So why not add another color? But that will define this a little bit more. It'll pop out the oranges and the yellows. But it will also make it look like it just was meant to happen. And that is what I'm looking for. Yeah. Isn't that fun? Oh, so pretty. I'm hoping to do another live video like this with Tailored Expressions Big Blooms. I got her hollyhocks and her daffodils stamps that I haven't played with a lot. Again, this I'm using olive green, and I just poked 3 holes in the top. So I used moss green for the background and olive green I am excited to see this when it's all done. There's something wonderful about painting with color. For me, it makes my whole day happier. And as soon as I'm done, I get to play teacher with my kids for the rest of the day, or for most of the day. But I am excited to have this time to paint. There's a great book called Art Before Breakfast, and basically it's this guy talking about needing, well, I guess there's 2 books, but the one explaining why artists are a bit more creative in the morning, and how we can hone in on that. And I have been following this Art Before Breakfast theory for about 5 years now, and I gotta say, I am so much more creative in the morning than I am in the afternoon. Even I felt like this needed just a little bit more green to pop, and I'm trying to find it on the other side and I'm not finding it. Yeah, and it looks okay without that. But so there is that one, and that's with the Brusho, and I think that's really pretty. I love the texture. And see if you can't zoom in up closer. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Now what I could do, I know, keep messing with this, and I don't want to mess with it, but because I can, and my kids are being good, and it's Monday, so we got all week to do our work. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of dimension to these. And what caught my eye was this. And now I'm not painting every petal. That is not the point of that. The point is to just kind of help it pop, I guess, help guide the eye and make your florals pop just a tiny bit. Yeah. So you're just adding a little. I don't want so much white space. I feel like the same thing here. Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm going to let it go. All right. Well, I hope you found some useful techniques, useful tips. Of course, I like to paint loosely, so I think we have some beautiful card panels to give away, and I'm really loving how this one turned out. This one's, I don't know, I don't have a favorite, but this one's really pretty. All three of them turned out beautiful. So I'd love to get your opinion if you have a favorite one. This was with Qor Golden. This one was with Daniel Smith, Primatech, and Duochrome Watercolors, and this was with Brushos. 3 different mediums, a couple of different techniques, all the same kind of style though. So I'd love to hear your opinion. I get to start teaching my kiddos this morning. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Keep creating.